Welcome to Gas Pedals and Gunpowder. My name's Chris, doing my second video on YouTube. I'd like to give a shout out to my fan. Thanks, Dad. Today, I'm going to be attempting to install the Badlands Apex 5,500 pound long drum winch on my 2022 Polaris RZR Pro R4 using the Rough Country winch mount. Now, I wanted to make a video on this because I couldn't find anything using that particular combination. The closest I found was using the short drum, and everyone said you couldn't do the long drum because it's going to stick out or hit the bracket, something like that. I don't know. We'll figure it out. In the end, I'll make it work. But I really wanted the 50-footer rope versus I think it's 30 something for a better recovery. So stay tuned. We'll unbox it, see what we get, and try to throw it on this thing. All right, unboxing the Badlands Apex winch. Instructions, need those. Cover, winch mount, which I don't think we'll be using because we have the Rough Country setup. Decent hook, some wiring, I'm guessing for the relay. Bag of hardware, that's gonna be high quality Harbor Freight hardware right there. Winch pull, battery cables, relay. Ooh, fancy fair lead. Got some terminal covers and the winch, 50-foot of synthetic rope. This one comes with the rocker switch, which that's why I went with this one, because I wanted the inside rocker switch as well as the actual remote. More wires. Figure out where those go. More wires. What's this guy? Oh, battery cutoff. Awesome. Cool. All right, winch mount. So I did get the winch mount for the Pro R that has the integrated light bar. So hook that up as well. Looks like it came with a harness. Decent low profile lights. Couldn't hurt. All right. Got some more instructions. Winch plate. That's significantly sturdier feeling than the Harbor Freight one. Not surprised. Light brackets and looks like a fair lead. And final cover. Cool. All right, first thing we're going to do is undo these 4 bolts in the center using the T40. And then there's 2 on the outside here to move this front fascia off. Again, from what I've been told, it's going to hit here, but we'll figure it out. Let's set that aside. Oh, forgot the other 2 lower ones down here. Okay. Got those. I'll pull the thing off. I'll set this aside. One thing that I can't stand that Polaris does with their body panels is they use these stupid, cheap little U-nuts. They don't have a lot of gripping power, and if you've taken the panels off these and put them back on, you tighten them just a little bit too tight, and they start stripping and bouncing, and they don't get the body panels tight. I've taken pretty much all the body panels off of this to hide the wiring for all the other stuff I put on. And as I go, I have been replacing all of those U-nuts with these guys. So they have the the nut built in. You can get them a lot tighter. and they were cheap. They were like 50 of them for $15 on Amazon. They're M6 by 1.0. And I'm sure someone is going to chime in saying, "Oh, these keep you from over tightening it and breaking the plastic." I'm like, well, don't give it all the ugga duggas, okay? Like, just pop these on, give it nice and snug. Body panels stay much more firm. I hate rattling, so these are the guys. All right, now we got to take off front bumper. Got these 2 body clips and 4 bolts, 15 mil heads. So we'll pop these guys out. Put those aside. All right, put that aside. All right, now we're going to mount up the winch to the winch plate. So you got the winch. Instructions have motor to the right of you so it can go on the plate correctly. So flip it over. So you got your mounting holes here. Got the rough country plate. Lines up perfectly with the holes here. Now, little side note, I did replace the hardware that came with the winch from Harbor Freight. It says it's an 8.8, but call me crazy. I just don't trust the hardware from Harbor Freight. I know what you're gonna say. Hey, Chris, well, why'd you buy a Harbor Freight winch? It was 40% off. What do you want from me? So I did replace that with the 10.9 rating. They are an M8 with a 1 1/4 thread pitch, 25 millimeters long. I did not replace the square nut in the winch. All the ones I found were probably a third thinner than what's in here, so I left those the way they came. So I did, the new bolt, but also I got an upgraded lock washer, just thicker, more substantial. But my biggest concern was the little washer they give you that goes on the winch plate. I do not like how thin that is and how big the diameter is, because once it's over here, it has very, very little meat on the winch plate. So I went and got an M8 fender washer. Definitely gives it some more meat. I just did not feel comfortable with it. So I'm going to mount these up using the new log washer, the new fender washer, but I'm also going to do a little bit of blue thread locker just to be safe. So I'll get these all started. Be right back. All right, getting that last bolt in. Got them all started. Now it is a 13 mil head. Get those nice and tight. Now there wasn't a torque spec, so I'm just going to give it, nice and tight. Maybe a half ugga dugga, So. All right, here comes the fun part. So we take our original hardware from the bumper we took off earlier, and it's going to install through the plate into the factory mounting holes. Now the fun part about this is there is not much room between here and there. So you can't get a socket in there, and it's too tight to get the box end of the wrench around, at least on this side. So it's going to be one of those 16th of a turn, flip the wrench, 16th of a turn, flip the wrench. I'm going to get this started, and then I will come back. Okay. This works better if you had a friend. The thing gets kind of heavy after a little bit, so I got one on there. Then we're going to stick the second one in there. It is just not very friendly, especially when you have little short, stumpy sausages for fingers. Ooh. Ooh. No. All right. Did I get it? I believe I did. Ugh. All right, now that we got those two bolts securing the winch plate to the frame, now we're going to secure the grill support and radiator support to the winch bracket. Now the kit comes with the hardware, these little spacers go in between here. Yeah, getting the last one tightened up. Give it the traditional, that's not going anywhere. Now that we got the grill and radiator support all buttoned in, we'll mount our little light that comes with the kit. It's going to have two of these brackets, and it's going to mount with two of the... Now we're going to put the bumper cover back on. This is kind of where it counts, because this is what I was told wasn't going to fit. But first we're going to take all these junky U-clips off, and we're going to replace them with our fancier U-clips that they have this really cool feature. They hold. It's weird, you know. Come on, players, get your life together. All right, moment of truth. Got all the clips put in for a total of 8. I got 4 on this bumper cover and then 4 on the body. So let's see how this works. Fingers crossed. Bumper cover above the light. You know, it fits. Well, look at that. That's pretty exciting. It fits. I was genuinely concerned about that. So we'll get these clips put back in. Again, don't get too crazy. I just put them in with the gun, and then actually, okay, so it fits. That's the important part. However, putting this on, I just realized that the terminals for the wiring are going to be covered up by the bumper cover. So I'm going to take this back off. Super glad it fits. So hooray. Yeah, that's going to work out just fine, I think. But I am going to have to pick this up. I'll get the wiring all connected, and then we'll get this thing on. But you know what? That's a big relief that it fits, because take that, internet. You were wrong. How dare you? I've got the bumper cover back on, and everything fits great. I don't know why I was seeing that the long drum didn't fit, because it seems to work great. It might touch a little bit on the motor side, on the bumper cover, just a little bit, but nothing I'd be worried about. It's not bowing out or giving a lot of pressure. So I think everything's going to be fine. The next step is going to be putting on the rough country winch plate, and it's going to mount in the factory holes down here using the factory hardware through the holes right here. Now you're going to want to leave it loose, because we are going to have to feed the shim through the cable, or through the line, and it's going to act as a spacer between here and the winch plate and the front plate. Then we're going to mount our fair lead on the front and kind of button everything up. Little point: when you put this back on, you want to leave these loose and take these bolts completely out, because these are going to have to kind of fan out in order to go into here behind the plate, so you can mount them using the factory hardware again. So kind of finagling that. I'm going to go ahead and get this started and come back as soon as I get it done. Okay, update. So it actually does not fit out of the box with the rough country plate. The body of the winch on the passenger side hits the plate, so it does not let it rest flush. So what I did was void the warranty. I actually took about an inch, maybe a little less, maybe a little more, out of the plate on the side with just with an angle grinder. Doesn't look the best, but it's going to get banged up by rocks anyways. So I just did a test fit. That makes it fit. Everything is going to go together nice and neat now. But yeah, does not fit out of the box. But I don't know if, that could be why they were saying it wouldn't fit, but I figure that's a simple thing, and not too much. I don't think the structural integrity was compromised too much by doing this. It still has all the meat over there, and it really just keeps the winch from flexing up and down when you're pulling. It just ties it in nicely. So I still think it's going to be just fine. So, all right, now I'm going to put it together. All right, let's button up the last couple things. All right. So it does work. Little modification. Modify at your own risk. Take no responsibility. But it works. I think it'll do just fine. Last little bit of the wiring, I waited a couple weeks to do. Just time got away from me. But I'll show you how I did it. Doesn't mean you have to do it like this. This is just the way I decided to do it. The wiring from the driver's side of the winch, I had it go up. I had that fender off, and I wanted to make sure it was nice and secure. So I zip tied it to the actual body or the frame. So I had it sent along there, pass through the firewall, pass through grommet over there. I'll move over there and show you what I did there. So then the wire came over here, had it pass through that grommet right there. As you can see, those 4 screws right there are actually the 4 screws that attach the battery cutoff, and these are 2 screws that I found that I could attach the winch solenoid to. So coming out of here, so there's the battery cutoff, and then the winch solenoid. That's where I had it mounted. It's mounted high enough to where the feet aren't going to be interfered or anything like that. I had the battery cables. So out of the factory or out of the box from Harbor Freight, it came with 6-gauge wire. The wires that it came with for the battery weren't long enough, so I got some 4-gauge wire and ran it all the way to the battery. I went a heavier gauge. I'm going further than what it was, designed out of the box. Whatever. I don't know if that makes a difference or not, but I had the battery wires coming through here, down through the center console. I took off this the center console, the shifter bezel and everything. I had the wires exiting right there, and then had them go to the battery. Pretty simple. And then, yeah, so that's where I had the battery hookup. I'll show you where I ran the switch here as well. But, the battery cut off and the solenoid, pretty simple. The biggest thing was just trying to mount them where they were close enough together and not mess with anything else on the firewall. So the final thing is the remote trigger or the remote switch and the rocker switch of how I mounted those. So I just had come from the solenoid up over here, and then I had to mount that remote switch there, and then this pressed right into the factory switch holes from Polaris. So that worked out just fine. One thing that was super irritating, the port for the remote trigger has this diamond shape, right there, and it's a from the factory. So there is no way to pass the mount through the hole, and because it's all one harness, which is, I don't know, maybe I'm missing something, but so I actually cut the harness, stripped it, used solder seals, which are really nice. They solder around it, give a nice watertight seal. So I cut it, then I could run the wire through the pretty good sized hole I had to make through here, then connected it through there, wrapped it with electrical tape underneath the solder seal. But yeah, it was super weird. So just keep that in mind. I couldn't figure it out unless taking the harness apart, but just cutting it and resealing it was the best way I found. But everything works great. Have not had a chance to, well, I say chance, haven't used it yet, but everything worked out well. I have it connected with a soft tie just to hold it in place so it doesn't rattle, but not everything works good. Did a test pull on it, and yeah, everything works fine. And I hope this helps. If I missed anything or you have anything you want to add to it, please feel free on the comments down below. But until next time, I will see you guys later. Have fun out there.